afternoon and welcome to Oak Lawn Community High School for today's South Suburban Conference Red matchup between the Revis Rams and your Oak Lawn Spartans. Before today's game, we take time to celebrate the career and lifelong commitment of Spartan athletics of Mr. Spartan Eugene Skip Sullivan. Skip started his time with Oak Lawn Community High School in 1966 as a three-sport student athlete participating in football, basketball, and baseball. Following his graduation from Iowa State University, Skip returned to Oak Lawn Community High School and served as a social studies teacher for 33 years and coached a combined 78 seasons across 5 different programs. During his teaching and coaching career, Skip was a 5-time recipient of the Who's Who Among American Teachers Award, the Pitch and Hit Club High School Coach of the Year in 1996, a 2-time Fred Parks Coach of the Year, and was inducted into the Illinois High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2009. Skip was a role model, mentor, and friend to many former Spartans, current staff members, and countless community members. To begin our dedication ceremony, we would first like to call up Board of Education President Robert Lohr and District 229 Superintendent Michael Reardon.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the entire OLCHS community, I want to thank everyone for joining us today for this very special event. Everyone here today was connected to Skip Sullivan in some way, and we are all better people for having Skip in our lives. I first met Skip back in 1992 when I was hired as a new teacher at Oak Lawn Community High School. Skip was part of the new teacher orientation committee, and not surprisingly, he made me and every one of those new teachers feel welcomed, supported, and cared for. But that's the person who Skip was, every day with everyone, during his 33 years as a teacher and 78 combined seasons as a Spartan coach. Skip made an indelible mark on our school and our community. By naming our baseball field in his honor, all past, current, and future Spartans will be reminded of the positive influence that Skip Sullivan provided all of us. And now let me introduce Mr. Robert Lohr, President of the Board of Education, who will formally dedicate this field in Skip's honor.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you all for being with us today to honor Skip Sullivan. I would like to begin by expressing appreciation to a number of people who made today's event possible. I want to thank the Sullivan Dedication Planning Committee members, Janet Myers, Brian Clifton, Bill Gurney, Maria Vanderwarren, Jeremy Cryan, Joe McCurdy, and Mike Reardon. Your diligent planning brought us this wonderful event. Many thanks to our Director of Building and Grounds, Joe Giglio, and your entire crew for maintaining this beautiful field and providing our student athletes with a second-to-none athletic facility. Thank you to the Sullivan family for your continuous support of Oak Lawn Community High School, and thank you for sharing your husband, your father, your grandfather with the OLCHS for all these years. And finally, I'd like to thank my fellow Board of Education members for all their work and support of our students, staff, and community. On February 16, 2022, the Board of Education adopted Resolution 2122-10, which formally proclaimed that this field is hereby named Skip Sullivan Field. You can read that full text of the resolution contained in today's program. So it is now my distinct honor to publicly announce for the first time and to welcome you all to the Skip Sullivan Field.
And now to present on behalf of the Village of Oak Lawn, please welcome Mayor of Oak Lawn, Terry Borderer.
Thank you. What an honor it is to be on this field, an honor of a man who has given so much to this community. You know, I'm a lifelong resident of the Village of Oak Lawn, and while I went to a private high school, I was smart enough to marry a woman who graduated from Oak Lawn High School, married 52 years. Her dedication to the village came from her indoctrination here and her training and teaching at Oak Lawn High School. So it's always been an important part of my life. Back in our May City Council meeting, I had the opportunity to do a mayoral proclamation honoring Skip Sullivan for all the contributions he's made to the village. And while I'm not going to read all the way through this, I want to just read the fact that the Village of Oak Lawn, by the power granted to me as mayor, has declared this day, May 17th, the Skip Sullivan Day throughout the Village of Oak Lawn. And as the mayor of the Village of Oak Lawn, I speak for all its people. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's made this village what it is. I'm proud to be its mayor.
And now to speak on behalf of Coach Sullivan's former players and coaches, please welcome Brian Clifton.
Wait a minute, I'm not done. I'm a politician. I talk a lot. Thank you. Listen, Skip lived on this street and spent his entire life on this street, walking to school and working for this high school. And it's right and fitting that the Village of Oak Lawn honor Skip by naming in this street the Honorable Skip Sullivan Way. And we will, our Public Works crew is here, and they are at the corner here, and go ahead and pull the string. All right. Again, thanks, Skip. I know you're looking down. I wish you were here, but you certainly earned that honor. Allow me to present this honorary sign. Okay, I'm done.
And now to speak on behalf of Coach Sullivan's former players and coaches, please welcome Brian Clifton.
Thank you. It's an honor to stand before Skip's family and friends, Oak Lawn alumni, and community members on this very special day. Skip Sullivan's childhood idol, Ernie Banks, famously stated that the measure of a man is in the lives he's touched. Today we honor Skip for his commitment and dedication to Oak Lawn baseball, and we recognize the profound impact he had on the life of every person in attendance today. When Skip was hired as the head baseball coach prior to the 1995 season, he shared a vision with longtime assistant George Demps, a vision of the program he wanted to build. His vision was built around trust, integrity, respect, and most important, the concept of family. When I began to put together some words on behalf of the alumni and coaching staff, I came to realize that my words were simply not enough. So I reached out to just a small fraction of individuals impacted by Sully in his lifetime. As these individuals shared their stories, it wasn't surprising that Sully's vision has become a reality. One of Sully's greatest strengths as a coach was the trust he placed in each of his players and his coaches. His wit, his positivity, and his encouragement coupled beautifully with his competitiveness, and his players fed off it. In Sully's first year as head coach, he led the Spartans to the school's first ever 20-win season and set the bar for future teams. 5 members of that team alone went on to coach for Sully, including all-conference first baseman and current Oak Lawn teacher Brian Brandt, who admits, "I wouldn't be teaching and coaching today if it wasn't for Sully's mentorship and guidance. I owe a great deal to such a wonderful man." It was also in his first season that Sully, along with Coach Wuchik of Richards, revived a stagnant rivalry between the two high schools in our village. A Spartan Bulldog contest can be quite contentious at times, especially with two loyal alums from their respective programs at the helm. But in Coach Wooge's words, nobody coached with integrity more than Skip Sullivan. He was as competitive as any other coach, but he never compromised his morals to get a victory. One of Skip's constant reminders to the other coaches in the conference was, let's do right by the kids, and he meant it. This same sentiment is shared by coaches across the South Side, like former Brother Rice head coach Tim Lyons notes. Coach Sully impacted everyone around Spartan program. He was always consistent with class and a constant reminder of how the game should be played the right way. This philosophy was evident in the players he coached and the coaches he mentored. Wait for it. Through Skip's leadership and emphasis on playing the game with integrity, he quickly earned the respect of those he coached against. Revis head baseball coach Don Erickson agrees. He says Sully's Spartan teams were tough to beat. His players were scrappy, hardworking, fundamentally sound, and unafraid to be in the big moment. In short, Skip's players hated to lose, but at no time did this competitive spirit change the principles instilled in them under the respectful program Coach Sullivan built. Anyone in coaching at any level will agree that the relationships forged through the years between players, coaches, and the community far outweigh the wins and losses. Sully had a bigger vision of building a family of Spartans. He wanted young men to come together with a common purpose, and he preached the idea of family. Through Sully, we all share a common bond, and like him, we all bleed green. Yesterday, I was able to share a long overdue conversation with Demps and relive just a few of the many anecdotes that keep Sully's spirit alive. Undoubtedly today, many others will be retold and relived and share the same themes. Sully made connections. He oozed positivity. He made us laugh. And above all, he taught us how kindness trumps everything. Today, Sully would be humbled to see so many members of his family return home in the most fitting place of all. From the moment he was named head coach, he vowed to make this field the focal point of our campus. And with the dedication of the field in his name, I believe the Oak Lawn community fulfilled that goal. Considering the string of wet weather this spring, some might say that we're fortunate to have such a beautiful day. However, all those who wore the green and white pinstripes during Sully's tenure know that luck has nothing to do with it. Instead, we have one person to thank, and that's the Spartan in the sky. The Spartan in the sky who now has our biggest fan by his side, each game played on his field. Thank you.
Now, on behalf of the Sullivan family, please welcome Skip Sullivan's daughter, Dana Anna.
I know how much this would mean to my dad. On behalf of the Sullivan family, we'd like to thank Coach Gurney, the baseball program, Oak Lawn High School, Mayor Borderer, and the Village of Oak Lawn for this honor. Oak Lawn High School was my dad's home away from home. He spent over 30 years walking down Menard Avenue to get to school and this field. He was a Spartan to his core, bleeding green. Coaching was a big part of my dad's life. His players were his kids. As I look around today, it's clear the positive impact he had on everyone he came in contact with. My dad and his assistant coach, George Dempsey, spent a lot of hours here and took pride in getting the fields ready for games. As a kid, I remember every time we drove down Southwest Highway, he'd always point to the field and say, "There's heaven." He loved this field. I can only imagine him right now, from heaven, looking down, smiling and feeling humbled that this is happening today. How ironic that the street he walked down for so many years would be named Skip Sullivan Way. My dad always treated everyone with kindness and approached life with a positive attitude. So may this be a reminder to always live the Skip Sullivan way. Thank you again. This means more to my family than you'll ever know.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, today our first ceremonial pitch will be thrown out by Mike Sullivan, the son of Skip Sullivan. Catching at the plate is former Spartan baseball coach George Dempsey.
Kneel down, George.
Taking the mound at this time are Skip's grandchildren, Mason, Rosie, Caitlin, and Chloe. On behalf of the Sullivan family at Oak Lawn Community High School, thank you to everyone for attending today's ceremony. Let's hear it one more time for Skip Sullivan.